What up?
What's up, guys?
Welcome back. What up? I've got like my
What's
my
up,
Twitch.
guys?
I gotta minimize that because
What
it's.
up? What's up, guys?
I've got like
I'm
my.
getting a little feedback.
Oh shit! I've got.
I'm
Hold
getting
on.
some feedback.
What's up, guys? I gotta minimize that.
I'm getting a little feedback.
I think they're good.
Hey, let's
Oh,
start
shit.
over. All right, cut.
Yeah, hold on.
Hey, let's start over. All right, cut.
Yeah.
Hey, let's
Fuck, man.
start over. All right, cut.
Yeah, hold on.
Is that yours?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the third podcast. Welcome to the what's up, guys? Podcast. Welcome to the
Is everybody's
what's up,
Twitch
guys?
muted?
Third podcast. Welcome to the
Is everybody's
what's up,
Twitch
guys?
muted? You gotta mute your Twitch if it's on your computer. Is everybody's Twitch muted? Mute your Twitch if it's on your computer. Is everybody's Twitch muted? You gotta mute your.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
getting
we're
it
good.
anymore though.
We're good.
You rolling?
Um,
Getting it anymore though.
I think we're rolling, man.
We're 15 minutes late. How could we?
How about we
Well,
say this? Yeah.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Ryan.
sorry.
You do it. You kick us off.
All right, cool. Guys, welcome, Young Money Markets. We're excited to have you. We got Josh, Nick, Eric, Ryan. We're here. It's Tuesday evening. We're excited to talk about the markets today, what we got going on in our own investments, and talk about kind of the news of both the stock markets and the crypto market. So where are we going to get started, guys? How about how the markets look today?
Dude, we gotta talk about Tesla, man.
Tesla.
We've gotta
Yeah.
talk about Tesla, dude. So quick background on my exposure to Tesla, I guess. I've been investing in Tesla since the day after the Cybertruck came out. That was, for me, that was like, the thing, and then I was like totally bought into the company. I rode that all the way up until Tesla was trading in like the 700s. I sold off some, and then I sold more around like $900 per share, like kind of back at this peak. But I had margin pulled out, and then as soon as Tesla started dipping hard, I was buying more in. Like as Tesla was falling through 700, it fell through that layer, and then it kept going down. I was buying more, and my conviction was so high with Tesla. I was selling other positions to add into Tesla. So it was actually just consolidating. And so actually, by the time Tesla was at $550 per share, we had sold all of our other positions to go literally all in on Tesla. Not fully all in on Tesla because we've got other investments, but from a stock standpoint, we put a large amount of our investable, net worth into Tesla. And I gotta say, man, so over the past month, it's been brutal, like getting punched in the face every single day, just, bloody nose. I'm like, Josh, I was on the phone with Josh a couple times. I'm like, dude, I almost got margin called. Like, scared, kind of scared me. I'm new to sort of using margin and leverage, and so thankfully I didn't have too much out there where I was like really really exposed. Um, but man, just today seeing that 23 up 20% or whatever it ended up, going up today, just such a vindication. And It feels good, man. I gotta say, it feels really good. Hopefully, it doesn't just like disappear tomorrow. Like it totally could, and I'm not I'm not necessarily expecting for that not to happen, but and so I'm not buying today. I'm not taking out more margin. I'm not touching more margin,
Good.
dude. I'm not doing it. I'm just setting that aside. I'm like, nope. I've got a credit line available to me on Robinhood, but I'm not going to touch it. Um, and I'm loaded up, man, because I think, dude, this is why I'm wearing my flannel today. I went bear hunting today. I went bear hunting today, and I got one.
Yeah.
And I got one,
Nice.
dude. So I'm flying high today, man. It feels
And,
good.
and you're
That's
and
my
you're not
piece.
and you don't have any plans on taking profit?
Not at all. Nope. I feel like I feel like the Bears have been just merciless, and it's time for some pain in the other direction now. And I feel like there's been a burbling on the bull side. Um, and dude, when you ask yourself this question long term, do you want to be short Tesla? Do you want to be you want to bet against Tesla? Like, I think that the logical story wins out here and the reversal happens, whether it's tomorrow or that plays out over the upcoming, weeks and months. For me, I think it's just a long-term thing. And people who bet against Tesla, man, I can't get myself there in my psychology. Maybe I could sell Tesla if the valuation was like super out of whack, but never bet against Tesla because man, that's a good way to just get kicked in the balls over time.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the Bears have had too much success. I mean, Tesla's up. My numbers say 454% in the last year. So I'm not sure I'm not sure of this bear situation you're
Oh,
talking
there
about.
are
But
bears, Michael Burry.
There's
There are bears, man, who are
it's
calling
had a
for
high
Tesla's
short
neck.
interest for a
Yeah,
while, and
there are
it was
bears.
one of the most shorted stocks there for a minute, and
yep. Well,
it
because they
didn't
never made a
work out for
profit.
them.
Yeah, they never made a profit.
Well, now, so if you're a hedge fund and you had an open short position on Tesla, you're having tough conversations tonight. You're saying to yourself, I just got punched in the face, down 30% on the day or whatever, 20% on the day. Do I think like longer term this is going to continue to be a downward trend or not? And if not, like do I take my profits and leave at this point, which would obviously create a little bit of a short squeeze situation. That's exactly what I think we're going to see happen. Again, whether it's tomorrow or that sort of progresses over the upcoming 2 weeks, I think that that's just how this is going to play out. And it's
Tesla
going to be a squeeze.
Tesla absolutely shot up my big board to number 10 after the movement today. So yeah, it's pretty
Let's
impressive what it's done.
go, dude.
Yep.
It's a big
Yep.
deal. If you're on Ryan's list, dude, you're doing something right, man. So I'm happy. I'm good.
Josh, I think a lot of people are listening to us because of Bitcoin. What do you think about this Bitcoin action? We kind of called this, huh?
Yeah, I think you called it for sure. I'm still not sold. We're gonna see new all-time highs,
I'm not
and
either. I'm not either.
I think when I say sideways, I mean just sideways from a couple weeks ago. We've been kind of sideways.
We
Yes,
have
we're up on the 7 day. We're up 3 month, but in the past, since the last peak, we're just kind of chilling. We're just kind of coiling a little bit, hanging out. People are like, "Are we gonna moon out now? Is it time? Is it time to go to the moon? Whatever." Um, I
Nah.
think there's a lot of people anticipating it, and we're gonna see some selling when we get up to that 57 to 60,000, and then we're just gonna
Yeah.
sit here for a couple weeks. But
There's too much uncertainty for it to run like that up to 100K right now, I think.
it needs to just cool off a little bit. I'd rather it just hang out for as long as it can, so we can just keep accumulating more, and then it take off.
See,
You
I'm
know,
not adding to Bitcoin right now.
yeah.
There are too many things that are too attractive from a valuation standpoint. for me to be adding
Yeah.
to Bitcoin. I'm already heavy Bitcoin, man. But I'm curious. I'm curious. Like, are you guys really buying corn right now and stuffing that away?
I'm in low enough where I think I'm good. I'm just letting the interest kind of build. I
See,
do
that's
have the
where I'm at.
Tesla,
Yeah.
or I do have the mirror thing going on, which is an indirect play on Bitcoin. Um, how about you, Ryan? You still buying up here?
No, I am, well, yes, I'm, if I have extra resources, there for a little while, I was so irresponsibly long, and I still am. My portfolio is something like 80 or 90% Bitcoin.
I'm at
Um,
90.
yeah, something like that, and probably uh 5% of 5 to 10% of that um is the altcoin stuff. And here's the thing, because I'm not heavy altcoin from a perspective of my Bitcoin to altcoin ratio. However, I have a strong altcoin position, and the reason why is because I make more Bitcoin with my altcoins. And so the reason why I would like to see Bitcoin um, probably chop a little bit is when Bitcoin is chopping, alts typically, if Bitcoin isn't going down, so alts perform poorly typically if Bitcoin's dropping in value or just taking off. If Bitcoin is chopping, that's the time to be in alts typically. And so right now, I just want to make as much Bitcoin as possible through my alt strategy, and I'm seeing some success there. So yeah, if I have some extra dollars at from my budget, yeah, I'm plugging it into stocks really at this point because I'm so heavy Bitcoin. But yeah, I want to be upset if Bitcoin took off.
So when you do the alt strategy, when you're doing the trades to build your corn up, do you sell back into Bitcoin?
That's right. Yeah, everything I do is Bitcoin value. Yeah.
So you never trade back into a stable coin or fiat.
Only if I have to. Yeah. I'm sitting in Bitcoin. If I have to trade into stable coin, like for example, Binance, I have to trade on Binance.us. Pretty much the only thing you can do on Binance.us is trade with USD. And so I'll trade into USD, and then I'll trade immediately back the USD into Bitcoin. So I'm a long-term Bitcoin guy, and I don't know if people listening to this can relate to this, but days like today are crazy where you make more, you know, in a day than than you do in a couple weeks of working with when you're Bitcoin stuff. But it's like you can lose like a lot of value as well, in a couple days with
Right.
Bitcoin. And so it's insane. And I've kind of leveled with kind of a long-term strategy, kind of like what Nick is doing with Tesla, where I just believe in it so strongly long-term. I just view Bitcoin a little bit differently in Tesla because I think it's not a stock. It's a currency, and it has a different value proposition to me that is a more stable option longer term. So
You,
even though I think
that's
Tesla is good as long term as well.
right. Yeah, I think we're all on that. We're all on
Yeah.
Tesla and Bitcoin here pretty
Yep.
much. And
Yep.
you said this is something maybe new traders don't really think about, is going back into Bitcoin from your alts and kind of just
Yeah.
trying to stay and measure things in Bitcoin instead of measuring in USD. And
Exactly.
really, we should normalize this, especially if
Yeah.
for the Bitcoin maxis and people who really strongly believe in Bitcoin. You should start measuring everything in Bitcoin and instead of USD. Because why would you go back into fiat?
I
Once you're
yeah.
all in on the crypto and
Exactly.
Bitcoin.
Exactly, Josh. And like this drives me crazy. If you're on crypto Twitter, um, like I'm not going to name names right now, but there's a lot of like
There's a lot.
really really popular traders out
Yeah.
there, And I think I shared in our group chat last week. You know,
You
there's
can
one
say his
guy.
name.
There's one guy that I respect, but he said, you know, this coin is consolidating in USD and running in Bitcoin. I'm like, or I'm sorry, yeah. And I'm like, well, that's because the price of Bitcoin is changing. Like, you
Yeah,
realize this. Like,
yeah,
why would you evaluate a chart? Why would you evaluate a chart based on, it's just, okay, so I don't trade charts, but it's just so silly to me that you would evaluate a chart and you would say, you know, something could go down in value in Bitcoin, but if Bitcoin goes, you know, parabolic move up, that altcoin's also going to go up in USD. And what that chart will say is your chart will say this alt is gaining momentum, and it will give you all the technical indicators. For example, your RSI, your MACD. You're going to get all of this move towards a bullish signal. And what's going to happen is you're getting a bullish signal because Bitcoin is running. And
yeah.
and we know from history that when Bitcoin runs, we know that altcoins typically lose value because people move their value, their Bitcoin value. They move it from alt and they put it
Into
directly
Bitcoin.
into Bitcoin. And so this is, let me just say like this: if you're listening to somebody and they're talking to you about an alt value in USD, and and Bitcoin's running, and they're trying to show you should buy this because of this, run as fast as you can. Like Josh said, we're trying to get to a point where we're maximizing our Bitcoin. And if you
Right.
don't if you don't really believe in Bitcoin as a global currency, then I suppose you could do USD. But it's, even then, it's just silly to me because you're just relying. It would be like pricing, you know, Tesla stock in Apple, and it's like, well, Apple started to run up and therefore Nick's excited. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's backwards is what it is. So yeah, you're right, Josh. I don't think enough people realize that that's what they should look at.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's
one of the things that Josh and I were sort of talking about offline. Sorry, my upstairs neighbors are like stomping around. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not, but
nope.
um, we've actually been, and I didn't realize, like, over the past, number of podcasts we've done, we haven't really talked about it. We we have been getting slaughtered in the stock market in a number of, I
Oh
know we
yeah.
talked about Tesla, but in a number of, and actually, can I just go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's definitely something we should cover because we've been talking about crypto so much. You don't even notice it if you're looking at the S&P.
I was looking at some NFTs here. Well, I'm not going to pull up Robinhood on Safari, but I'll pull up. Let's just start with Tesla. Oops, Tesla
You
stock.
know, I was gonna say I can bring it up because FinViz can give us a bunch at one time.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can just,
let's do it.
or
Let's do it.
this works too. This works.
It's not really ideal, but it
Okay,
is
I'll
kind
bring
of the
up
way.
FinViz. I'll bring up FinViz.
Yeah. Let's do that.
But just break down what you were talking about last night that
Yeah.
people are
So
kind of sleeping on.
so yeah. So basically, like, if you look across some of the sort of quote unquote best companies in the world, right? Look at Square, PayPal, Nvidia, um, Etsy, Virgin Galactic, Neo, um, CCIV, Lemonade. Um, these companies are some of the biggest growth names out there right now that people are investing in. We could go through kind of, breakdown of what each of those companies do, but they have been hammered. If you look at the indexes, like the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, or value companies for that matter, you will not have seen what happened what happened over the past month was an absolute bloodbath. ARK Invest is like an ETF that Kathy Woods manages, and I think that was down like 22% at one point in time. These risk assets, and by risk I mean these
What's
assets that
ARC's
were
ticker symbol?
ARKK, and that's just a basket of funds. It's got Tesla in it, but it has like a bunch of biotech companies and a bunch of other stuff in it. Kathy Woods, I highly recommend researching Kathy Woods because she is just absolutely genius. Facebook has been relatively stable in this whole thing, but yeah, CCIV, dude, look up Neo. Put Neo in there instead of Facebook.
NEO.
NIO. NIO. Um, these companies are monsters. Twitter, same thing with Twitter, but yeah, Square.
67 billion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
300 billion.
there's been this massive sell-off in risk assets, and by risk again, what I was going to say there is, it's not risk in the sense that these companies won't be relevant in the future. It's that their valuations had been stretched so far out in time, and so what happens when the market is expecting inflation to come, which is what we saw, it compresses the PE ratio, the earnings ratio, the denominator of the calculations that people use for valuations. And so all of these assets sold off hugely, 20-30% on average, the ones that we had up on the screen originally. Bitcoin didn't move. It just blows my mind because Josh and Ryan are way more kind of maxis, I would say, than I am. I believe in Bitcoin, but I'm very sort of removed from some of the more sort of religious sentiments of it, I guess. But not that you guys are like
You
religious
know
about
I'm not,
Bitcoin.
Bubba.
No, yeah, I know, but it's just incredible. It's incredible because I would have expected Bitcoin to sell off with these riskier assets because as people are getting margin called and stuff, they would have needed to tap into their Bitcoin, but it didn't fall.
I think
And
there's
there's
I think
something interesting there, man.
well
For
there's
real.
there's two things though, Nick, that I think. Well, there's a couple things. Number one, we did see a correction, right? We went what was the all-time high? Was it 57, 58, something like that? And we came back to 40. So we did see a correction. But I think
Yeah.
you have to remember, look at the people that are making the large bets in Bitcoin. That's what I was saying earlier. Bitcoin is not like Tesla. It's not like Apple. It's not like any of these other stocks, these value plays or growth stock. It's not that. It's a store of value. It's a store of value, and and that's completely different. You know, the other thing that if I am I am a huge believer in the Plan B, stock to flow stuff, and he believes that Bitcoin is correlated with S&P. And Eric, I don't know if you have an opportunity to look this up, but Plan B has a really cool chart that looks at the recent Bitcoin price versus the S&P price movement. And basically what it says, if I remember correctly, and try to get me the real number if you can, Eric, but I think the value of Bitcoin based on this chart to the S&P is closer to $100,000 per Bitcoin. And basically what he's saying is that we're due for a pretty major increase in Bitcoin if the last 10 years or 12 years of data that he's analyzed of correlating the S&P and the Bitcoin price movement, we're actually due, Nick, for an even larger increase than what we've seen. So my point is with that, Nick, is if you want to compare Bitcoin to the S&P or to to the stocks you're talking about, plan B would say we're not even at a point where it's apples to apples, with where the S&P has grown to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, but when that margin call comes, people, that's where rubber meets the road, right? So like charts and emotion, things like that, they go out the window because it's not an option. You don't get to tell the margin man no. You just have to pay them. So you have to sell when people are over leveraged. They have to sell assets that they don't really want to sell, and they sell them into the pit. They sell them while the floor is falling out from underneath them, and they know it's a shitty thing to do, but they have to do it. And most people don't own things that they want to sell. They want to keep things for a long time. But what we saw was that people chose not to sell Bitcoin when the margin man came calling. That's
Well,
But
super powerful.
I
There's
I, I think
something there that I don't know. I'm seeing a change. I'm starting to see a change.
so Bitcoin went from 57,000 down to 40, almost 43,000, under 44,000.
When did that happen though, Josh?
That just
in the
happened. That
last
was
month, in the last month.
in the last month. Peaked on February 21st, dropped on the 28th. So, but what I think what Nick's saying is Bitcoin kept going up as these stocks were
Yes.
falling down. I
Yes.
My
Well,
guess is
yeah.
they're just moving over. They moved over. They're allocating into crypto. They saw a pullback in Bitcoin and they want it on. They've seen some big players because let's be real. A lot of the talking heads, they have a sway on people, and there's more and more of them coming over to the Bitcoin side. Oh, the BlackRock guy, the Elon buying, um,
So
the what you got here?
Nick, when you're talking about margin called, this is what I'm saying. I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying of that Bitcoin is being traded completely different than a traditional stock. Look what's happening here. This is the number of Bitcoin on exchanges. Bitcoin's being completely removed off exchanges. You can't remove the Bitcoin off the exchanges if you're going to get margin called. So what's happening is people are literally buying Bitcoin. A huge amount of people are buying Bitcoin. And look at this. This is
Mm,
as the price goes up.
I see. So your thing is they're treating it as if it was like in a liquid, like a piece of
Exact
gold or something that they're storing away in cold storage.
store of value. Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
not something that they've got at their fingertips and they're ready to liquidate,
Exact.
because
Yeah.
part of it is a risk thing, right? For these big
Yeah.
institutional investors, they don't want to keep it on an exchange like Gemini or BlockFi or
Exactly.
Celsius. So they're putting it into cold storage where it's inaccessible, and so they're liquidating things that are by their very nature on exchanges, right? Like stocks, and they're leaving the Bitcoin alone, dude. That's nobody's talking about this, man. That is so interesting and powerful, and I don't know. That feels
But
to
I have
me like it bodes well for like the
Does
longer
this
term sort of
include
price
hot
action.
wallets, Ryan?
This is people taking it off exchanges. So it was on an exchange, they bought it and they took it to their own wallet. So no, this would be taking it off hot wallets or other
This
exchange
is great.
wallets.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
this is
but
great, man.
and I don't, and I tried to sell my point, so I don't want to like mislead people into thinking that Bitcoin people aren't going to get margin called. I mean, I think
Oh, they
Bitcoin's
do.
people are probably more highly leveraged in cryptocurrencies than in the stock market. The only point that I was trying to make is when you look at something like Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin,
They don't
they're
have
doing
cold storage to put it.
they're yeah, well, yeah, they do. They're taking it off the exchanges. They're not leaving it on the exchanges.
No, I'm saying for Tesla, something like a share, you can't. you can't take a share
Oh,
off. You
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Shares, but that's the point. Like, remember last week, one of my buddies contacted me who was listening to the pod, and he was like, I really liked when you guys talked about Bitcoin being like real estate, that it's property that you own. Like, stocks are paper, right? Just they're kind of like in theory. Like in theory, I own like last week or on Sunday, Nick was talking about like, I really like the idea of HUT FF, MF, like increasing my holdings. I like the idea of being a strong holder of a relatively, it's a big company, but it's not a huge company. Um, and, but like of course, legally that's true, but it's not like Bitcoin, like where like you own it as property and you can like put it on your okay, I guess you can order this, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's just not the
Yeah.
same. It's just not the same. Like you own this property like you would own a brick of gold. And you can bury it in your backyard if you want. You can put it in your safe. You can have somebody else store it for you. And it's a lot more usable than gold.
But
So
if the blockchain disappears, your Bitcoin's gone.
can you
And
Like
it's
imagine?
it's
gone.
not a
Can you
physical
imagine?
piece.
And
It
it's
literally
gone,
lives
dude.
on a chain in the cloud or the internet. You know, it lives out there. Like you don't hold the Bitcoin right here.
I
It's not. You
remember
can't like touch it. You know.
Josh, it was like a year ago. I posted to Twitter, and it's funny. I don't know if Matt's listening to this right now, but I think he made fun of it. Oh, uh, Zach was asking a question. Yeah, we'll get to that here. Just one quick second. But I think Matt, who sometimes listens in, was actually making fun of me about this because I said last March, Bitcoin went down to $4,000, and I put on my Twitter. I said if Bitcoin goes to zero, I'll buy all 21 million myself. I'll set up a node in my house and my parents' house, and I'm going to keep the blockchain going. Of course, that's
I
not
like
going to
it.
happen. That's not going to happen. But that's the way people. That's the way Bitcoin people think. Like we're so convinced that I don't. I honestly, man, I don't care if it goes up in value or not. I just want to use it. I want to break away from the government. I just love everything about it from a principle perspective. And I don't think people understand that until they get indoctrinated. And once they get indoctrinated, you see what we see in this chart. And I'm going to pull it back up because um, Zach's
Wants us
asking
to explain it a little bit
to
here.
explain it a little bit more. So I'm going to pull it back up one more time here.
Dude, I do want to get into mirror.
Yes,
I know that's going
So
to take a little bit of time.
let's do that next.
to kind of really simplify this chart down, what it means is they're taking it off of a place where you can trade it, and they're putting it in a place where you're gonna just store it for safekeeping. You're gonna literally store it. That's what the the gold chart, the gold line is trending down. They're pulling it from the exchange and sticking it in their safekeeping where they're not gonna be tempted to trade it. Because when it's sitting on Binance or whatever, and you're like, oh, I could just click a button and I could trade it. I could, get out of it. But if it's in your paper wallet, there's more you got to do to get it out. But your intent is you're not selling. You're gonna keep it.
Does
But
that
this
make
is a
sense, Zach?
yeah. Let's wait for him to respond. But this is a really really big deal because you can see as the price of Bitcoin's going up, you would think the amount of Bitcoin. Listen, think about this, guys. Let's think about this logically. You would think as the price went up, there would be more Bitcoin on the exchanges, and the reason why is because people want to be prepared to sell as the price goes up. That's the logical idea. So what does this mean? What this means, what this chart is showing is that there's a huge amount of institutional people, long-term holders that are buying a huge amount of Bitcoin and they don't have any intentions of selling anytime soon. That's what this says.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
I like it.
powerful. I like it a lot.
It says a lot.
Let's hear about
All
Mir.
right.
I don't know anything about this. So I'm
So
interested
the
here.
the backstory here is Josh, you tinker around a lot with this stuff, man. Just
That's how I learned the
random.
chains. I need it has to feel good. It has to feel intuitive. the fee's got to be right. It just has to feel good. Otherwise, if people don't want to use its platform, why
And
should the
when you
coin
say
be valuable?
when you say the chains, right? We're talking about things like Polkadot, Ethereum,
Ethereum,
Cardano, hopefully Solana, but
VeChain,
yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and they all
So
have
you
different uses. They're all
Binance,
set up different. Binance, I've tried the Binances. I've done the pancake swaps and all of its derivatives. It's it's turtles all the way down with the pancake swap. Um, but the mirror one stood out to me because it was the first time where I could buy Tesla or Apple stock and and not be on and stay in the crypto world. You can literally stay in the crypto world. Um, should I pull up?
Yeah, show us,
How should we do this?
yeah,
Josh.
Josh.
Josh, while you're pulling that up, give it. Tell me like I'm a complete beginner because that's what I am. What is the value proposition of Mir? Where, if you're going to buy Tesla, like you just said, or Apple on Mir, where does it sit? Why do you trust it? Give me like the really like high level, and then yeah, if you can show it to us, that'd be awesome.
Why do I trust it? And it might be easiest for me to just explain what I'm doing and why
Okay.
I'm doing it and why I believe in it.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
so I'm doing a I hate to show numbers on here. That's the thing. Like that's why it's kind of why I don't want to show my screen. Um,
Well, I can show mine. I don't have an account. If it'll.
yeah.
Do you have a Terra wallet? It won't let you in if you don't have a.
Let me
Let's
see
just
if I
start,
can
Josh.
disconnect my Terra wallet. I'm gonna disconnect my wallet here. So we'll do this. The thing is, then you can't see them. Well, this will work. This will work. This is fine. So I've this is on the Terra network, um, and the thing is we could talk about this forever because Terra network for its gas fees for its transaction fees, it's paid in UST, and that is actually a stable coin. So everything goes back to this UST. That's kind of how you get around in the Terra network. But it's a stable coin, so it's different, right? So automatically there could be that's got its own issues, but so this is the mirror platform. Um, this is the dashboard. These are the assets down here, and you can just kind of look at. Let's look at Tesla here. Um, You got the volume, liquidity, Oracle price right here. That is where we closed today in the markets. TerraSwap price, that's what you're paying on the platform here. And as you can see, there's a spread of about 1.54%. And you can look at the spreads all the way down for all these assets. Some of them, go below. Some of them are high. And you can wonder how does it peg to the underlying asset? How does Tesla stay pegged to the Oracle price or the actual price of the stock? How can we trust that this thing isn't just going to go to zero? Well, it's on the community, and the community of Mirror is strong and it is growing, and people perceive this as value. Because it's off the stock exchanges. You can get off of Robinhood and not deal with that centralized dictatorship. You call it whatever you want, but they're kind of dictators over there. And you can buy Tesla, you can buy GME and AMC whenever you want.
But
There's
that's
it's an ecosystem. There's
so.
no centralized dude or market maker that comes in and says, "Hey, we got all we can't have you messing up our sheets here, our balance sheets."
So these
So,
M assets um, are, Josh. I'm gonna mess this up, but they're essentially ERC20 tokens. You
No.
can load M Tesla onto your MetaMask wallet. And you can actually port. So this is on Terra. Terra
Port,
has a
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
You can
this,
port from here to Ethereum if
to
you wanted.
Ethereum.
Yes,
So even though this
but
lives on Terra, and this is a key part of the we can get into this more, but this is a key part of the long-term vision of the people who have created this, is that it's compatible with Ethereum. So if one day Ethereum, the fees are no longer a problem on Ethereum, but you have all your assets on here and all the people go over to Ethereum to use Ethereum, you're not shit out of luck. You can actually shuttle these assets over to Ethereum, so they're interoperable, right?
right, it
Interoperable.
helps relieve the congestion too from Ethereum, which I think is
The way
happening.
their best
People
player on
who
SMT based
are
on his
smaller players, retail guys, they come in and they see the fees over here. The transaction fees are in the cents, sometimes depending on the size, instead of you know
$12,
$30.
right? So
So
there's no one who can tell you not to trade the assets. You can trade them 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So if you want to buy Tesla right now on this,
yeah, you
you
can.
don't need to wait for
And
the opening bell tomorrow. You just do it right now. You can own it, um, which is great. Same
so
thing with selling.
yep, same thing with selling. Buy and sell whenever you want, and you can actually look at the size of the liquidity. So if you're a big player, you can't come in here yet because you're going to move the markets. You're going to kind of shake things up. But this is made for retail guys. This is made for smaller players. Um, to kind of continue with why I think it's really special is the staking. Those who provide the liquidity, you can be any size. You could have $100, you can have $1,000, you can have 10,000, and you can provide liquidity and help make the market for this
Liquid,
ecosystem.
right?
You make it liquid, and instead of just one market maker like Robinhood supposedly has, or whoever, name your centralized exchange. You and I can come in here together and we can stake for the market. So they call it a liquidity. They call it liquidity providing, right? There's you make these LP tokens. Basically, you buy. So this is what I own. I own M Tesla and UST. So I buy 50% Tesla and 50% UST, and I stake
What?
it, and I'm making 374% if compounded daily. APR is 156, and I'm basically locking my money up to help provide liquidity. And of course, the first thing you ask is 154%, 374%. That's crazy. How is that sustainable? Why? How isn't this a Ponzi? You're just waiting for other people to hop in, kind of like the swapperies over with Pancake and the Binance chain. This is different because of the perceived value within these. These are real stocks. Yes, they are synthetics of real stocks, but it's obvious people perceive these as value just like the stocks. They're pegging them to to the underlying. Um, I can go into how they do that,
So I
or
think
I can.
the big thing here, that I think about and why I've gotten pretty heavy into Mirror is nowhere else are you able to be paid for providing liquidity. You are being charged to make trades, being charged to invest in the traditional financial system. You execute a trade through E-Trade. They charge you $6 for a centralized organization to basically be the market maker, provide liquidity, handle the back end, right? In this situation, in this new world, in this setting, you're actually you're the intermediary by just by providing your liquidity into a pool. So this UST thing is just pegged to a dollar. It's just a stable coin. And so if I put $1,000 into M Twitter UST, that's essentially, you think of that as equivalent of me putting $500 US dollars and $500 worth of Twitter. And I'm literally just putting that and I'm staking it in here. Staking does not mean it's locked up for any period of time. I can unstake this, instantly, immediately, as many times as I want. And it will only cost a few cents. But as those things are staked, I'm providing liquidity for people who want to trade Twitter and UST on the platform, and I'm earning a portion of all the network fees that happen on this network in return. And that piece of earning a return for providing liquidity is not something that you have access to if you're just using Robinhood to invest in stocks. So this is like total, I don't know. This is, to me, is like a total game changer. Does that kind of make sense or not really? I know this is like
It it
super
it it
heady.
does, and there's this thing of trust, and they're very transparent. They go they go into the token supply and how exactly the rewards are paid out. It has to do with what Nick just said with the fees. Um, with every time somebody wants to sell their Tesla into UST or vice versa, buy Tesla with their UST, you get a little share, you get a little chunk, and there is a uh, an actual formula that they have for that. Um, Now you got to ask how do they peg it, right? How do they keep that pegged? Um, you mint to short. So if the M Tesla gets too high, it starts getting too high, you can come in and short it, and you'll capture those gains to bring it back to parity. It's all in the ecosystem. You use the mirror token. That's a government token to um, bring your vote for new assets too. I know I'm
Governance,
kind of
right,
jumping
Josh?
around here. What's that?
Governance token. So the more mirror you have, like these are all things that you can vote on. The more mirror you have, which is the currency that you're paid out in that APY. So with that APY, you get paid out in mirror. If you look at mirror's price action over time, it's it's been very strong. It's been a very strong performer. I think it will continue to be strong as long as the liquidity is trending upwards, which I think it will continue to trend upward because this protocol is really special. I think as far as when I compare it to other projects that are out there. Zach asked a question or had a comment. So he said, seems unsafe. First red flag, 300 plus
Yeah.
percent APY. So what exchange lies underneath Mirror? Actually making the purchase on stock markets? Do you actually own Tesla, for example?
No.
Or is someone just saying you do? So no, you don't actually own Tesla. If you buy M Tesla, what you own is basically a synthetic M Tesla asset, which you can trade around the cryptoverse. You can send that into your Mirror, or sorry, into your MetaMask wallet. You can actually put that into a wallet, like it's its own sort of currency. So that's what you own, and that M Tesla mirrors the underlying asset, which is Tesla, by two things. One is the Mirror protocol actually has a tool that they use. What's it called, Josh? I want to say it's Bend,
For
or what's the?
the Oracle.
Yeah, they use
That's
an
band
Oracle,
protocol.
the Band protocol, right? Yeah. So there's a and granted, we're still sort of digging and sifting through all this to make sure that this is all basically as lock tight as we think it is. But they're using this Band protocol to basically do the peg. And then the community is also involved with shorting if the asset goes above, whatever the underlying asset is.
Yeah. People
So there's two
arbitrage to keep it
parts.
pegged.
There's two parts though. It's a community, yeah, it's a community, but then there's also this Band protocol that they're using to help maintain that peg. Um,
Well, the
S-
band protocol is just an oracle. It just references the stock price. It doesn't
is
really
that
do.
is that right?
Yeah, it
Okay.
just all it's doing is it's just a data feed. So you can see the actual stock price when it closes, or and now it actually only updates every minute. So it's not like real time. You know what I mean? Um,
S- So I'm
so
not sure we
Zach was
answered.
worried about the APY,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to explain why it's that way. You just have to look at as you are being rewarded to provide liquidity for the ecosystem. If there weren't liquidity providers, it there you wouldn't have there wouldn't be enough liquidity to buy
You'd
it
have
to get in.
if there
You'd move
weren't.
the market every time someone
Yeah.
came in to buy. You'd
But
Yeah.
move
that's
it too
but
much.
that's every market though. Like, and I think what Zach's point is like if you're gonna provide Bitcoin liquidity right now on, for example, BlockFi, you're gonna get paid like 6%. And I think that's what he's saying. He's not saying that. I don't think he's saying that he doesn't understand that providing liquidity brings value and you should get some type of return. I think what
Well,
he's saying
that's
is,
different though. That's
Yeah.
not liquidity.
That's not liquidity. That's
The
lending.
BlockFi and Celsius is they're rehypothecating. They're taking your Bitcoin and they're lending it out. It's not yours. You can actually, when you go to Celsius and you look at your wallet, it's quickly thrown into the commingled pool of all of Celsius. And they take all that Celsius, they borrow against it, they lend it out. You know, they do whatever they want with it because you signed it over to them.
but what's the difference
This
between this with with your
this
UST? Because if you're providing liquidity, then you're saying here's here's funds, you can use this to provide liquidity for the exchange.
Right, but it's not a centralized team making those decisions. With Celsius and BlockFi, you still have a CFO, you still have a CEO. You know, you have a CTO. You have all these smart dudes, right? It's a couple people. Whereas Mir, it's an ecosystem. It's a
I'm not
community.
sure. I'm not sure it's even the same. Just
It's
basic concept.
it's not.
So
It's
so
they're
BlockFi,
different.
BlockFi, and Celsius are lending tools. You're providing your Bitcoin to BlockFi, and they're lending it out to somebody, and then somebody is borrowing to go and do whatever they want. That's not providing liquidity. That's lending.
So in this case,
Providing,
what does liquidity
yeah,
mean for Mir then?
yeah, yeah. So liquidity, not just for Mirror, but for like Robinhood, for example, you can think about liquidity as the oil that greases the market. It's the reason why if you place a trade, um, and like uh the buy where the buyers and the sellers meet on within a certain asset, right? Like wherever there's a market, there's a connection point where the market is at any given point in time, and that's like what this is. So if you look at the Oracle price for Tesla, right, 688.77. If you place an order for 688.77 in a very fragmented amount of time, but there's not somebody who's offering that exact same rate at that exact same time. That's where liquidity comes in. They bridge that gap and they provide basically the lubrication that you need in order to make trades that clear instantly with very little friction. And
It's just like an
sometimes that
order
means
book for the order book, just to fill the order book to,
it's to fill orders basically.
yeah.
So it's very micro differences that the liquidity might be providing. I think of liquidity as like the oil that runs through a
Yep.
gasoline engine, and so like without the oil, the lubrication isn't there, and the system can break down. That's why what Josh said earlier is true. So in the absence of liquidity, without liquidity, if a big seller comes into the market, it will crash the market because there's not enough buyers. The liquidity isn't there to
Yep.
smooth out the decline. So the losses are exacerbated. Same thing on the upside if a big buyer comes in without liquidity.
Yeah.
But the difference is on Robinhood, there are companies like Citadel that provide liquidity to the
Right.
market,
I
and
understand.
and so And so Citadel is a massive company, and the
It's
reason
one
they're a massive
entity.
company is Robinhood is actually paying Citadel for liquidity,
Right.
and sometimes they're paying for that in the form of data. So they pay them with their data, and then Citadel sells it, and in return they do the transactions for free. On E-Trade, for example, or Fidelity, part of what you when you pay a $6 transaction fee, part of what that goes to is Citadel to actually process your transaction, make sure there's liquidity for it. In this protocol, there is no Citadel. You are the Citadel. If you are providing liquidity here, you are the lubrication of the market, and you earn a return. You earn a portion of the rewards
The
for
community,
actually
yeah.
performing that service for the community. And so by doing that, you're actually not only are you exposed to the underlying asset, and if you believe that, if you can wrap your head around that this thing is going to stay pegged to the underlying asset, which this is a very transparent protocol. Personally, I feel okay with that risk portion. But if you can buy into that this will stay pegged to the asset, then basically you're able to tap into this extra value layer, which is this liquidity portion. So you're invested in Tesla, which is great. You could do the same thing on Robinhood, but the difference is you actually can provide by merit of being invested in Tesla with that staking pool, you can actually receive part of the network fees that happen, as this Tesla asset is being traded, bought and sold. You receive a small portion of that, and that's what that APY is coming from.
Well, it's also there's the tokenomics of the mirror token itself. It's coming in. So there's a graph I showed earlier about how fast it's coming in and the share of it. And part of the
Right.
tokens that come in are being paid to the liquidity providers
Right. Yeah, but just
for
to
for
focus
providing.
on, before we get to that, Josh, on the tokenomics, just
No,
just like,
that just adds to the APY. It's not just
yeah, it's
the
not just the
transaction
network
fees.
fees. Totally. But as far as like back to the core question, which is, like, well, you guys have been talking about this mirror thing, like, why do I care? Right? Like, so what, right? The so what is, this is a new this is a complete removal from the traditional financial world, where you are in
Yes.
one way or another, whether it's through your dollars for a transaction fee on E-Trade or Fidelity, or in Robinhood where you're paying with data, your personal data, and Robinhood's paying Citadel for liquidity. You're actually able to benefit from this by providing this service to the community at the same time as being invested in the underlying asset. That's the so what. That's the reason why this is so different, is
Yep.
that it removes a middleman who's been in this, basically been a part of this whole situation for forever, and now you're providing that service, and you're being compensated for it. So that's the total game changer in my mind. Anywhere, like, and if we could just extrapolate this beyond just mirror, anywhere there's a third party that's pocketing some spread, like a bank or something else, this is where blockchain is going to disrupt in the future, because we don't need there to be an intermediary. We don't need a Citadel to be there. We can do that ourselves by participating in things like this. So what is this? A
Mark
problem?
Cuban.
Yeah. And this is exactly, I think anybody that is into blockchain or Bitcoin at all, we all believe that this is where the stock market needs to go, right? The only question that I have with any of it is why Mirror isn't getting more support. Right now it's
I think
um
it's fresh.
well
It's
it's
too new.
I mean they launched in early 2019. Well, no, actually late 2018. They launched in here. I got their stuff up here.
When was their platform usable though? That's what you got to look at.
I'm not sure, and you guys know me. I look at the data, and I'm not, and I wasn't aware of any of this stuff. So you guys are educating me on this stuff. But this is the Mirror coin. If I'm looking at the right one, is this the right? Is this the right one?
I don't think
No,
so.
Is it
no.
Is it
I
MIR?
I don't know. I've never looked at it in.
That logo, that icon doesn't look familiar to me
Yeah, that's not
from
it.
Is
here.
it mircoin.io?
No, that's something else.
Look up, yeah, it's something else. Look
Yeah,
up
right
Mirror
there.
There we
Protocol.
go. There we
Your
go.
protocol.
Yeah.
So it's 225th ranked project. Gotcha. So yeah, it's only been active since December. That's why I was so shocked to see
Yeah,
the coin that had been around for like 2 or 3 years. I'm like,
yeah.
what is going on here? Now you can see it's increasing in value. Um, market cap, you know, 5,000 Bitcoin worth of market cap, trading on
It's small.
KuCoin, Uniswap. Yeah, I mean it's not huge. It's a 225th ranked coin. I think if you guys are onto something here, this is probably a really good time to be in. And if you're, it's and it
The
sounds like you
thing
guys have
is,
done the research. So
Dude, the thing is, it's not you're not even that exposed. You don't need to own the mirror token. You don't need to buy and hold this mirror token, which granted is volatile, although
we
not
just
that
like the
volatile. We just
platform.
looked at it.
We
yeah,
We
just
just
we
like
it's
the
just
cool.
platform.
I
we
appreciate
we
you guys educating me on it. It's cool stuff. It's the future. It's awesome.
Man, it's powerful
I could talk
stuff,
about it
man.
all
I know,
night,
dude, it's
man. I
crazy,
love
but
it. I love it.
Zach said, I have my brain around that now. This is some heady stuff. Dude, it totally is, man. But I'm a total nerd when it comes to the financial system and just, understanding
Can
kind of, yeah. What are
I
you gonna say,
think
Josh?
you'll enjoy this, Ryan. I did some spreadsheets last night to kind of compare this compared to if you had just bought Bitcoin outright with 10 grand versus holding and staking 5,000 MBTC and the UST. Um, and the data I came up with is pretty interesting here. Um,
Let's see it.
how do I share this again? Here we go. No.
Ryan's like, data? Come on, man.
All right.
I'm ready
I,
for it.
I had to know, man, like,
Come on, dude.
what are the gains on this? And so this is if you had $6,500 and the comparison here. So we're going to
Does
change
that just
this.
say earnings, Josh? What does that column B row 4? What is that? Okay,
This?
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought there was like maybe a word before it that was like compressed or
No, it's
something, but
just earnings. Um, so daily right now is 6,500. You're making about 24 bucks, right? That's 0.37% a day. Then you go to weekly, monthly. Now, sure, that's fine and dandy, but the APR it rolls off, right? So we have to account for that, and we got to figure out what exactly that roll off is going to be.
and the reason
Um,
for that is
and
because part of the APR is coming from the the inflation rate of the mirror token, and it will decline over time. And so
Right, but
yeah.
it's also your share of the pool as Mir protocol gets bigger. Get your share of
Oh,
the pool gets smaller, so you're going to get less percentage of those transaction fees. Um, but if you restake it, so if you collect the rewards daily or every couple days and you restake it into your position, it will actually keep it pretty steady. So I've been tracking it for a week, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. It actually hasn't fallen off at all, even though the APR has been falling. Um, my daily earnings have stayed the same. So with 24, you're making 720 in the first month, and I'm just saying that this isn't going to happen forever. I'm being conservative and saying we're going to see a roll off. Um, even if the roll off is bigger, let's say it's even 2%. We'll do that for shits. Now we got to compare it. What if I just took that 6,500 and just bought in Bitcoin? This is where I think it gets interesting. Um, so this column right here tells you the change of Bitcoin price over the next year. So If Bitcoin has no change, this first column, 6,500, that's what you got. Your Bitcoin didn't change. But if you staked it as an LP, you're gonna earn, you're gonna come out with this much at the end of a year. That's just in rewards. Bitcoin price doesn't need to change. You're just making that in rewards.
And Josh,
Bitcoin,
this example you're using is for when you're staking M Bitcoin, which is just synthetic Bitcoin,
yep,
and UST, and that's the pair that you're doing. That's what you're saying.
yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can see it actually stops being the best bet when Bitcoin moons out, 300%. You're gonna make more if Bitcoin hits
Does
300%
this
over the next
include?
year.
Does column D include the appreciation from the half of the investment that's sitting in mirrored Bitcoin?
Yes, yes,
It does. Okay.
yep. So the half you're making more on the rewards than you are from that Bitcoin appreciation. You can see it.
I
Um,
just it's just so hard to understand this, fellas. I know you guys are deep into this, but I don't understand why if
so
Bitcoin went up in price, why would you lose value?
no, you're not losing value. See it?
Well, I mean, versus just letting it sit in a wallet. I don't understand. Like, why if okay, so you're going to give them your Bitcoin, they're giving you synthetic Bitcoin in return, and you're staking that. Is that how it works? You're giving Mir
No, no. So you buy the UST.
UST, and you're buying their synthetic Bitcoin with UST. Why doesn't the synthetic Bitcoin go up in value pegged against just Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. It does.
It does
So why wouldn't you have at least $26,000 there if it went up 300%?
because only half of it is in Bitcoin when you do
Oh,
this
because you
the
did
staking.
50/50. You did
Yep. Yeah,
50/50.
you
Okay,
have to do
got it.
the 50/50
Okay, got
staking
it.
when you do the LP. So the real magic is when it's flat. If you think Bitcoin is going to be flat for the next year or a little more conservative, or when it falls. This is the best part. During a bear market, and you're not sure, that even while the bear market's happening, you just sit tight and collect those rewards. You're still making money. You started with 6,500, and you are still making money with this stake. And even though Bitcoin just got chopped in half, and
That's
actually
unbelievable, man.
we
Yeah,
we
that's
noticed
crazy.
this that when Tesla was eating shit, the APY went up because there was so much volatility, so much trading going on because you're the liquidity provider. People
Yeah.
needed liquidity quick, so you're getting all these transaction fees. It's like you almost can't lose. It's almost too good to be true.
So
And
that's the
I'm
thing,
I'm
dude, is
looking
that
hard.
it's the risk reward, and unless you're like super gung ho.
Hey, you just accidentally muted Nick.
I got muted for some reason. Unless you're gonna just be like, I'm gonna own raw corn because I'm super bullish Bitcoin. If you're anything other than that, if you're like, yeah, it's gonna chop for a while, or you could see it go lower, then this is a winning strategy if that's what you believe, because of examples row one, and then the last row.
Yeah. Well,
Everything beyond that, it's like, you could just sit in corn. But if you think it's going to be flat for a while, and here's the thing, you don't need to be married to this forever. You could just park some money into it as you think that chop is going to happen, and then you can
You got muted
want to do
again.
it. But
Oh,
it's
now he's back.
undeniable that it's what's that?
you
Did I
keep
lose you
muting
guys?
yourself. You keep muting yourself accidentally, but fellas, this is really cool. I appreciate this education. I think there's a lot of people listening to this right now that are just completely this stuff is new to so many people. I
Yeah.
think we're a little over on time. Anything else on the Mir project? But this is an awesome explanation and breakdown. Thanks for doing this, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I could talk about it like I said all night because I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with trying to figure this stuff out. It is heady. Um, it's a little
And
deeper.
by the way, we're not obsessed with all of the all of these projects. It's not like we're just like, yeah, like all, every single project is so interesting.
We're
This is
digging
something special.
we're digging to find the ones that we think are gonna stay here long term. The ones that make sense, the ones that people are actually gonna use, and not just buying coins and holding, which
Well,
is
let's
fine, but
Well, if
um
I if I was listening to this, I would want to hear like weekly. You guys tell me, all right, where are we at? Where are we at with Mir? Are you still getting the same types of returns? So let's try to integrate that into some of what we talk about.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
that'd be great.
maybe we can wrap up here, guys, if you don't mind. With we're going to be coming back on Thursday. So you guys want to talk about what you're doing in between now and Thursday from an investment point of view, as a kind of a preview for Thursday and end the conversation here.
I'm just holding my long terms, not selling nothing, and I'm gonna keep collecting my rewards on Mir and restaking them.
I'm I'm selling out of Solana, which is a kind of just a project that I was interested in holding, but it was a little bit. I was new to the whole crypto thing. I got overly excited probably, and I made money on it thankfully, but I'm
Nice.
just I'm just getting out because I like other things more. I'm buying more Mirror Tesla and UST. That's gonna be up to probably 5% of my total portfolio is gonna be um, in Mirror Tesla UST, which is significant for me. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes and if it just shits out or if it's gonna produce. I think that it will produce. And then beyond that, man, I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I think that I think this Tesla run could continue, and we could really see some people freak out that are on the short side of that trade, um, and they'll be running for the exit. That's what I kind of predict and what I'm doing.
Yep. Yeah. Bitcoin hit 55,000. What we predicted last week, and or actually a week and a half ago. And I can see while we've been talking, it's dropped down about $1,500. And so it hit my price target, and now it's dropping. I think it's going to chop in that range that for the rest of the week. I personally think we're going to be entering into it, like I said last week. I think we're going to be entering into an alt run end of this week. I think probably starting Thursday, we're going to start seeing some movement, and by this weekend, we're going to see some nice altcoin movement. But keep an eye on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin keeps running and it's looking like it's going to 60, then be careful with your alts. But if you see it keep chopping, I think there's a good chance that we see alts run later this week and into this weekend and start another alt bull run. So all the data there is looking really, really interesting to me. I'm staying strong in Bitcoin until I see that alt move, which will probably be Thursday or Friday. I'm going to keep doing my day trading strategy with stocks, and maybe next time I can share. I'm getting into a long-term hold strategy. You guys talked to me about the long-term hold strategy with stocks, and so I did a deep dive, and I think I'm gonna maybe look a little bit deeper into that here this week. So maybe I can share either Thursday or Sunday about that. But the last thing that I think is interesting is I think on Sunday when we were talking, we were saying what's the market going to do? We talked about the stimulus and how the market's going to respond. I personally think that the market that we're already seeing the market is responding to this stimulus, and who knows? But I think we're gonna see another stock run, like you said, Nick. I agree with you. So I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic on stocks and try to continue to ride this wave. So
Eric, what do we got? What are you doing? No, no, no.
he's
I'm
saying,
not saying sign off. I'm saying, what the hell are you buying, man? What are you buying? What are you selling? Yeah. I saw. Were you buying Nvidia or okay,
BNB?
BNB?
I just have a little bit of stocks and mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I got all these like farming coins and stuff like that. So I'll try to explain a little bit next time for you guys. I'll break down some of my strategies for you.
But you're affirmatively buying it. You're buying BNB. Is that right?
Yeah, like I'm about to get like 10 or like 11K back from taxes, and I'm just gonna put it all into Ethereum.
Boom.
All in what?
All into Ethereum. I'm just gonna go all
Interesting.
because the new EIP 1559 is just gonna eat up all the Ethereum, so it's gonna make it like worth more and more every day.
Give it to me one more time. What are you buying?
Ethereum.
Ethereum. You're just Ethereum. Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, just some ETH. But
Nice.
yeah.
Hell
So
yeah,
I'll give
dude.
you guys a breakdown of my altcoins next time. I'll break down some stuff for you.
That'd be
Eric,
awesome.
you and I are the only ones who like Ethereum in this podcast.
No way, man.
What
I'm into
the
I
hell,
know,
Ethereum.
right? You an
man?
Ethereum guy?
Yeah, I'm in Ethereum.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
of
then
course.
Josh is the only one.
I don't
Josh.
own it. I got, it's gonna dominate. I agree with that. I'm just not gonna use their platform until they get their shit together.
That's reasonable. I mean, the gas
Yeah,
prices,
definitely is.
double the yeah. All right, fellas. Well,
So we're gonna end it
yeah,
there
we're gonna-
for today.
we're gonna
We'll
end
be
it
back
there.
on Thursday, right? Thursday at 6 p.m.
Booyah.
Sounds good.
9 o'clock Eastern.
9 o'clock Eastern. And
6
Cool
p.m.
beans.
6 p.m. PST.
All right, Young Money out.
All right.
Oh shit.